Hello, I hope this video finds you well during this time of social isolation. Today is day 6 in my commitment to record one Codingbat a night while schools are shut down. So whether you're one of my students or just someone out there learning to code, please don't hesitate to send me any questions or comments. And with that, let's dive in. So in this video, we're going to look at, in the Java section, Java warm-up 1 makes 10. So let's read it. Given two ints, a and b, return true if one of them is 10 or if their sum is 10. And we can look at the example. So if we have makes 10 and the two passed values are 9 and 10, that returns true. And that makes sense because the second parameter is 10. And our second example makes 10, 9, and 9. It returns false. This makes sense because neither of them are 10 and the sum of 9 and 9 is not 10. And finally, makes 10, 1 and 9 returns true because the sum of 1 and 9 is 10. And we can see the logic pretty quickly and show it with this flowchart here. So when the function starts, we get a is a passed value, b is a passed value, and then we see if a is equivalent to 10 or b is equivalent to 10. So there's our first if statement, and if that's true, we'll return true, and the function ends. And if that fails, we'll do a second conditional statement or if statement, and we'll say if a plus b is 10, and if that's true, we'll return true. And if that fails, we'll do our catch-all return statement and return false. And let's code this. So I'm going to say if a is equivalent to 10 or b is equivalent to 10, we're going to return true. There's our first if statement. If a plus b is equivalent to 10, we'll return true. There's our second if statement. And I'm just going to put something here just to show you something about Java in particular. I'm going to add another if statement and say if 1 is equivalent to 1, we're going to return false. Now this is ridiculous, I know, but I think we can all agree that 1 is always equivalent to 1, and we know, therefore, that that return false will be reached. And this is something that you have to be particularly aware of when you're working in Java as opposed to Python. Because if I hit go, we get this error that says missing return statement. And even though you and I can look at this and know that that if statement will always be true, meaning that we will always return something if it passes these two, Java doesn't know that. So it's really important when you're coding in Java that you always have a return statement that's reachable. And in this case, I'm just going to put a catch-all return like that, return false, and it works fine. So now, like always, I'm going to try and one-line this. So I'm going to put approach 1. Now I'm going to comment this out. And again, nice little trick when you're doing block commenting is put your closing comment. See that close of the block comment? Make it a comment. So that means if I delete this top one, I don't have to deal with deleting that. I can just put it back in. That was something a student showed me once, actually. Okay. So what the real thing we should identify here is that we have two if statements. And if it's true, we return true. If this is true, we return true. So if either this or this evaluates to true, we should return true. Therefore, we can simply write a return statement that evaluates a Boolean expression. And that Boolean expression will be if a is equivalent to 10, or b is equivalent to 10, or, there's our first one, a plus b is equivalent to 10. Close that up, put a semicolon, and there it is. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to take this opportunity to make one last statement. When you start getting into longer Boolean expressions that you need to evaluate, sometimes they can look perfect, but it just won't work. And that can have to do, at times, with order of operations. So remember, you can use brackets in Boolean expressions, just like you would in math, to force the order in which these things get evaluated. And I know I've run into this, I've had students run into this, where they look at it and they know it's correct. And it is because it's the order that they're evaluating it. So by quickly putting brackets in, it forces the order to be what they think it's going to be. And with that said, have a wonderful evening.